What's that, John?
And Warren McLennan, Aaron Shields, and this is we're being asked to approve for public notification the proposed plan change.
Yeah. We'd probably better go reasonably straight to
Warren and Aaron, you leading, Warren?
Yes, certainly. Kia ora tātou, everybody. This is a bit of a milestone in that this is a council-led structure planning process followed by the plan change which we're now about to commence on. And I did want to acknowledge the effort that has been put in over the past year in particular by the political working party, and that was chaired by Councillor Holtz, but also Councillors Cooper, Walker, Watson and latterly Councillor Sayers. So that's been a helpful feedback process for us as we've moved through from the structure plan to the plan change itself. I'd also recognise Aaron and his staff, particularly Anne Bradbury, Emily and Wayne, who are also along here. What we thought we would do is just briefly go through, we've got 3 or 4 slides just to talk you through, and then we're happy to take any questions along the way. So So the first one's the zoning map. I'll just briefly go through some of this and then Aaron can answer all the detailed questions there. You'll see the zoning map there. That grey area to the north is the Air Force Base, and then we have that purple area which is the light industry, and I'll come back to that in a second. You can also see next to most of the light industry, I don't know whether I've got a pointer in there, anyway, around the, you can see it there, is the single house area, and then we've got, let me see, mixed house, urban, and down here and up here we have, what is it? Yeah, okay, yep. Terraced housing and apartments. So, so that's the and these are the beauty of this plan change process is that these are the general zones that you'll be familiar with as part of the unitary plan. So we've been able to pick up the objectives, policies and methods in the unitary plan for these zones and transfer them from land which was future urban into this plan change. There's also some potential areas, let me see, I should actually say that the red line is the boundary there that we have for the plan change area. There's some pretty small areas of heritage that have been zoned, or whoops, that have gone back.
Clark's Lane.
Clark's Lane, and how do I go back on this? That one maybe. Is that it?
Yes, that's it.
There. And one more. That's it. So there's Clark's Lane in that area. Where's that pointer gone? Up there. And there's also a World War II battery area over, let me think.
Trick Road, just above where your cursor is.
Yeah, up here, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah,
just
up on
over there. Yeah, so we tried to manage those as well. And you'll also see the last one of interest is the, where are we? Along here, you can hardly see it. There's a local centre, a neighbourhood centre just within this area here. So those are probably the key points. We've also got precincts there. The first one to cover the
Ephemeral, yeah.
Ephemeral. And so we're looking at how we've got some esplanade reserves in that area. We've also got some coastal setbacks that you can also see there as well. On Precinct 2, we show an indicative road layout, and this really is to try, and this has been worked through with Auckland Transport, and this is really to try and ensure that the future road network, and remember we've got lots of different landowners in this plan change area, if we can set out an indicative one, it really helps to set the basis for what the land use will look like, and a good way of showing the where some of the key roads are. So we've got both arterial routes shown in there and also collector roads, and of course then the individual developers will start looking at the local roading network that they have to provide. And the last one is the noise contours from the Air Force Base, which is a unique thing about this plan change and about the Whenuapai area in particular. So remembering that the Air Force Base is up here, that this area is an area where the noise from engine testing, which happens from time to time,
Every night.
it's not,
Sounds like it from Tattoo.
does it? Yeah, it's it moves around in
I mean, I can hear it. Well, you can hear it.
I don't.
Okay.
anyway.
Just you.
The key thing is that within that area, residential is prohibited, and therefore we have got light industry put in there. And then further out in that next line of contour, it really shows housing where there are where we've got requirements around insulation and ventilation. So those are the general land uses and precincts. Aaron, is there anything you'd like to add there? Any questions?
Councillor Watson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just a couple of quick questions on the reverse sensitivity effect on the airbase, which was quite prominent in community engagement, and in light of Member Hennere's assessment of the noise, a little bit different from Malcolm Hunt Associates in terms of the engine testing. But Aaron, are we satisfied with these various potential issues to do with the lighting, bird strike, and that engine testing, that they're adequately addressed within the various measures open to us through the unitary plan and voluntary measures? I know, for instance, the bird is voluntary, and the noise overlay is. I know the noise overlay goes to restrict the number of people affected, but that still is a number. So do you think that in this document we've really ticked off those reverse sensitivity issues?
Through the chair, in terms of the three issues that you've raised, lighting, the issue therefore is that the Defence Force is concerned to have lighting that replicates aircraft runway or approach lighting to ensure that the planes are coming and going in the right direction and landing in the right place. So we've put some text into the precinct about that. In terms of bird strike, which is a low risk but potentially high catastrophic nature, if a bird goes through a jet engine, all of the streamside enhancements and stormwater provisions exclude the use of stormwater ponds, so all of the water treatment is going to be in stream. the Defence Force was concerned about sort of birds nesting and using the stormwater ponds as roosting and resting places. And so it's all in stream to reduce the areas of flat water. The third one around noise, there's two issues. There's one that the noise that the airbase creates, which we are managing through the use of the light industrial zone on the southern edge of the airbase, and acoustic insulation on the housing that we're enabling in the area south of the light industry. Secondly, in terms of the reverse sensitivity aspects where residents complain about the noise that they are now receiving now that they live in this environment, we're talking with the Defence Force about how that might be best managed in terms of whether there is the ability for a no complaints covenant that works in tandem with the acoustic insulation provisions that we've put into the plan change.
Better extend that to Te Aratu by the looks
Yeah.
of things.
Oh, I don't mind. I have a view that, hey, you know where the bloody airbase is. Why you want to buy there if you don't like the noise?
Yeah, through the chair, I might add that the Defence Force are careful to ensure that their operations can continue on as and when required, and so they've been quite clear with us about that. And we expect that they will make a submission on this plan change when it's notified to represent their interests in that forthcoming consideration of all of the submissions.
I just thought that, sorry, Chair, I just thought that if the noise that I can hear, and I can hear it on a regular basis, it doesn't worry me too much, but it must be twice as loud the closer that you get to it. And I'm across the creek and on the peninsula, so and I can hear it, but I'm just worried. I was just worried that
I thought it was
if I can hear
on
it, that they must have a hell of a time over there.
Yeah, and so through the chair, we will be exploring the issue of noise through the plan change, and for new residents in this area, it is a noise environment. Not necessarily so loud that you can't hear yourself, inside your house, which is where the light industry is, but definitely it will be an issue for attention through the plan change process.
Cool.
Happy to move, Mr Chair.
It's moved by councillor Watson. Do I
Happy to
second?
second.
Got councillor Hulse, sorry, just there.
You can,
Just a question.
I'm easy.
When I
don't
look
mind.
at the
It'll be easy.
page 346 of our agenda, Erin, and I look at the natural stream systems that are there, and I look at the Esplanade reserves that are on the edges of that, I don't get there's a very small sliver of green and blue there. Is that, what we're seeing there, is that supported entirely by our sustainability people and Mike, John Moreau's office, and also by our stormwater people?
Right.
Some of those seem to track, when you overlay the roads, they seem to track roads as well. So I would assume that they are all daylighted streams. Is that correct?
Yeah.
They're all daylighted streams, both the permanence and the intermittence. And what is the dimension of the Esplanade Reserve from the centre line or the edges of those streams?
Okay. Through the chair, the image you're talking about is precinct plan number 1.
One.
Yeah, and so we have worked substantially with our stormwater people, our environmental strategy people, and also with John Moreau's team around how to achieve sustainability in terms of the water system. You're right that the State Highway 18, the motorway, chops a lot of those streams in half as you see them on that map, and there are culverts under the motorway with fish passage provided for as part of the NZTA designation. While you comment that the lines on the map look very thin, essentially where there is an Esplanade Reserve in terms of the stream being 3 metres wide at mean average flow, we will take Esplanade Reserves either side of the stream and plant them through the subdivision process. Where where the streams are less, and that's where you get into the ephemeral streams and the overland flow paths. The precinct applies riparian planting requirements so that the land stays in private ownership, but it is planted to provide some of the stormwater solutions that I was talking to Independent Maori Statutory Board member Hanare about, in terms of slowing down the flood peaks, treating the water, and also providing for some amenity, and not simply culverting the streams or piping them, which is not the way that our healthy waters see that this is appropriate. The bigger context for this, of course, is that it is the upper Waitemata Harbour, and it is a very sensitive receiving environment that is already under pressure, particularly out of Lucas Creek. And so we're concerned to ensure that the output and the discharges from the streams, in particular at Waiarohia and the Wallace inlets, doesn't add to that contamination in the upper harbour. So it's about ensuring that the stormwater systems in stream manage the water so that when it reaches the harbour, it's not a contaminant, if that makes sense.
There's no stock standard measurement. It's actually the dimension of the esplanade reserves on either side of those streams, be they intermittent or permanent, is based on good landscape analysis rather than just applying, give me 15.
Well, what we've done in the precinct is that we've added in stormwater provisions that specify the width of riparian margins, and that is over and above what is in the operative unitary plan, and that's based on the work of our Healthy Waters people.
Okay, thank you.
To apply those provisions in this particular circumstance, which is a stream system with no downstream, basically straight into the harbour.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Any other speakers on this, members? I'll put that then. All those in favour say aye. Aye. Contrary, no. Declare that carried. Thank you. We will now go to our final open one item, and that's the administrative plan changes, which are on, they commence 3:59 with copious attachments. Welcome. Paul Reid.